Okay, something a little bit different from me now. A few of you in the comments have commented on the music that I put on some of my videos and saying that you like it and where can you find it. But a lot of it I actually make myself here in my little spare room. I've been mucking about with music for years now. At least 20 years been making music on computers, and just really I like mucking about with samples and little bits of snippets from films and things like that. And I used to do, not so much now, but me and a couple of mates done DJing for the last, again, 15, 16, 17 years. We just do, it started off as something, we're all in our 50s now. We're all sort of like 56, 57. And I used to do DJing years ago when I was about 19, 20. And I stopped doing that for a reason. There's a long story attached to that. Maybe I'll tell it one day. But when we was all hitting our 40s, a certain friend of mine said, would like you to do my 40th. And at that time, it was also his mum and dad was having a big anniversary. And he said, look, whatever I would normally pay for a DJ, I'll give you the money, you buy a little bit of equipment, which I obviously added to anyway, because I was in, I was going to get some stuff. And he said, and I'd rather you do the DJing for the parties. So that's what happened. So I started that. And then a couple of old mates of mine said, can we come along and help with you? And I was grateful for the help, to be honest. It was when I was younger and I did it. It was a very pressurised thing doing DJing. And that was in the days with vinyl, you're turning up with the twin turntables, all in one big box, all your vinyl records. I'll tell you how long ago it was. I remember I used to do a good mix of, it was Kylie Minogue, I Should Be So Lucky, because that was out. So you're talking about 88 here, I suppose. So I used to do a mix of Kylie Minogue, I Should Be So Lucky, with Let's Get Brutal by Nitro Deluxe. I don't know if any of you know that song. If you searched it on Spotify, Let's Get Brutal, or another version was called This Brutal House, Nitro Deluxe. Classic old sort of 80s, sort of, acidy house sort of anthem. But it went really well with Kylie Minogue. And so that's how long ago it was when I was doing the DJing. Anyway, then I stopped it for years and years. And like I say, as we started hitting our 40s, got back into it. So I've been doing it again, for sort of 16, 17 years now. Slowing down a bit with the DJ, and it's not what it used to be. People don't seem to want to go out and have parties as much as they used to, because everyone's house is full of equipment. Basically, you can do it off an iPad. But we had some good years at it. But I've always mucked about with music on the computer. That's my little passion, really. I'm a bit geeky when it comes to things like that. I've had a couple of little things played on radio, little remixes and things like that. I've had a review in a magazine years ago of a remix. So anyway, that's why sometimes I will put my own stuff over the top of my own videos, and that's why when people ask me where'd you get it from, I can't give you an answer because I've literally made it. So so I've had a comment or two about what setup do I use, what am I filming on. So I thought I've had an early day today, so I thought I'd just take a moment to be sensible for once. And I'll just show you what I can with what I've got, because I haven't got that much in the way of, gear as such. But I'll show you what I've got anyway. I'll turn you around. So I have got a guitar, and I did have lessons. I had 3 years worth of lessons on that. And I'm not natural. I could probably sit around the campfire and pluck something out of it, but I'm not very good. I'm not as good as Master Smurf 74. He can twinkle a few tunes out because he uses that on his intro, so I believe that's his own little composition. So I've got a guitar, but I don't record anything on that because I just like noodling. One day I'll be able to play Sweet Home Alabama without stumbling. That's my mission. But as for recording, a lot of it I do on a GoPro. GoPro I find is good for long time lapses and things like that. You can just set it up when you're plastering ceilings and put it on time lapse, and it's good for that. It's really good for that actually. So I've got a GoPro, and I've got this like a tripod. This opens out into a tripod. Let me just show you this. That opens out into a tripod. but it's also a big battery in that, and that will connect into the GoPro through that little USB-C thing there. So you can have the GoPro on that, and it gives a long life with the battery. So that's that. And sometimes if I do a bit of voiceovers, I will use, this is only cheap off Amazon. That just plugs into the bottom of the phone and lights up. Obviously it's powered by the phone. And then you get a couple of these with it, and you just turn them on and they sync to that instantly. None of those sort of mucking about a Bluetooth, they just sync to it. I'm not sure what make they were, but I did have another pair that wasn't as good, and when I changed my phone over, it needed a USB-C connection, so they were out. So I bought another pair off Amazon. I think that was about 25 quid, and to be honest, they're brilliant. They're really good. You get two of these little things with it. So that's that set up. Now I'm going to switch over to the GoPro and show you what I use on my phone. To be honest, the GoPro, if you are thinking about getting a little handheld action camera for filming work, like plastering, indoor work, don't get the GoPro, purely for the fact that it's really for outside stuff. The lighting on it is not very good. If you're in a room, especially if you're plastering, because obviously as soon as you start plastering a room, you're making all the walls dark. This doesn't like darkness. It doesn't pick up very well. The phone, this phone is much better than that. But if you're outside and you're probably riding a bike with that strapped to a helmet, or you're skiing or water skiing, whatever you're doing, I think GoPros are good for that. But I believe from what research I've done, if you want stuff to film inside, the little DJI thing, what's it called? Is it a Pocket Pro, Osmo Pocket Pro? They're better. The lighting is great for them, and I've set that on the maximum light to let in to film on an indoor setting, and it's okay. But in hindsight, I wish I'd not spent the 500 quid on that. I would have bought the other one, the Pocket thing. So anyway, I'm going to turn it on now and record the phone. Okay, so I've literally just switched to the GoPro from the phone. I don't know what the lighting's like in here. I look ever so dull on here. There's something wrong with the colour on this. I'm going to stop and start again. I'll come back to you and see if this colour changes. Is that a bit better with the colour? There was a setting on the back. I'm not sure what it meant, but I hadn't recognised it. I think I pushed the wrong button when I was playing with it. They're very fiddly, these GoPros. On the back, where there's a sort of touchscreen that you slide up, it's not that responsive really. So you do have to sort of be careful, especially if you've got great big fingers and thumbs. It's easy to sort of knock a setting. So anyway, that's that. So let me turn you around on this. Oh, sorry, I just got another work message coming. Oh God, never stops, does it? Right. So let me get my phone going, Face ID. So I'll turn you around. So on the phone, I will always use, well, I have been using iMovie, and this is where I make my movies. So let me, because I delete a lot of it. So the one I've just put out is here. So that's got me being a bit of Clint Eastwoody and all that. So all that stuff I edit within iMovie, and it's like any of these things really. Once you get the hang of them, they're quick. You can really go quick on it. So that's how I edit the movies. So obviously record on the phone. So you've got a GoPro thing as well. So whatever I finish recording on this GoPro, I just Bluetooth it into the GoPro app, and then I can save it to the phone from there. It's a bit of a faff, but you have to save it to the GoPro app, then save it to the phone, and then it goes back into my normal phone library, where then I can import it into iMovie and muck about with it. Now for the thumbnails that I make, I use a free version of CapCut. Yeah, so that's my last one. It was a fistful of dollars, and then I changed it to a fistful of doors, I think. So I don't know where that's gone. but there was one with my face on it, which is, I think that will be in my camera library, which is somewhere there. So I'll make that in the CapCut, and that's pretty simple really. You can sort of overlay images, and I find the stock images, I just literally take a snapshot from Google. I find the picture I want on Google, I screenshot it, crop it down, and then I can put it into CapCut. And once you're in CapCut, you can do an overlay. So I got, yeah, so you can, what you do, you just push overlay, find another photo, add it on, and then you can remove the background from these little menus down here. It sounds complicated, but honestly it's ever so quick once you get the hang of it. So that's basically my video recording setup. Now I'll show you the music one. Right, so this is a bit of software in my iMac called Logic Pro, and I've been using this for years and years now, so I'm quite quick at it, quite efficient in getting work done, got a good workflow in it. And basically it's just a music editing software program. You can record into it, you can edit it. It's very good. There's a few out there, but this is the one I started with, and I just stick with it because there's a lot to learn, but once you do learn it, you can really sort of get ideas out your head onto that, and then onto, you know, anything else pretty quick really. So with this I use a little MIDI keyboard, which is it triggers instruments from within the software. So at the moment I've got a little demo version of a new little, well, an old synth that I've just been looking at. And so this is full of sounds and parameters that you can tweak. You know, if you virtual knobs, you can tweak in that. And just by pressing the keyboard, you'll trigger the sounds in that. So it's going to sound something like this. And of course, if you move all these buttons, you'll open up filters and you know, all different sort of parameters really. Distortion, drive, cut-offs, resonators, all sorts of things. But anyway, for the most of the time, I just like mucking about with audio and just chopping up audio waveforms. And I usually get them into here via this little box here, which is like a little sort of outboard audio box. And what I do, I can play anything in this computer. So if I put YouTube on and I like a bit of speech that I like to hear or something, I can, in theory, what happens is the computer will play it. It will come out of the computer through this box and then back into the computer behind. And then I can record it onto here. So if I hit record, I can record anything that YouTube's playing on here, and that's how I can get all these little voice clips and samples and things like that. And then from there, obviously you can just edit it to the music and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically what I do for that. I think at the minute I've got a little Arnold Schwarzenegger little Terminator thing going on, so it's just a little bit of Arnie's speech. Let's just play that.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
And then if I just solo some drums, which I've been using with that. So drums, I'll go like this. And then obviously if you play them on top of each other, you get some sort of rhythm going on.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
So yeah, that's that, and it's just something I'm just tinkering about with at the minute, just for a future video, I suppose. So yeah, that's my little setup really. So this is a Mac. It's a very old Mac. I've had this Mac since 2008, and although it still works perfectly, there's no software update for it. So unfortunately, it doesn't talk to my GoPro, and it doesn't talk to this iPhone. So I will probably get a new Mac maybe next year now. It's a lot of money. It's going to cost me about 1,700 quid for the spec that I want, which is a lot of money, and I can't justify it at the moment. So yeah, I should carry on with this really. So yeah, that's how I do all that. So at the moment it's a more complex setup than I need, and it's all really hinges on me getting a new iMac. Then whatever I record on the GoPro or the phone, I can just connect it into the iMac, transfer the files across, and I can work straight into iMovie then, or another version like CapCut, or maybe Final Cut Pro, which is a very professional sort of video editing software. So we'll see where we end up with it all, but at the minute I've got, as complicated as that all sounds, it's very quick. I've got a little routine going. I can get in from work, muck about. Sometimes I can even do a load of editing at work if I've got some drying time going on. I'll start on the iMovie and start putting all the video where it needs to be, and chopping out the bits I do and don't want. And then by the time I come home, I can just maybe sit and just finalise it and upload it, because I usually like to upload stuff at least before sort of 7-8 o'clock in the evening. So hopefully it's like a daily thing, and people can sort of watch me on a daily basis, so you're in real time with what's happening with me. I think that's important. I enjoy that. I like watching other people's stuff that they've done recently. I don't like watching some video that someone's just put out and then you find, oh, they was doing that 4 months ago. They're lagging behind. I quite like to see as it progresses. So yeah, so that's basically my setup. Any other questions anyone wants to know about the setup, any other, anything you want to know, just ask me, and I'll be happy to answer it. Although I'm a roughy, tufty, dusty old plasterer, there's a big geek inside me as well, which loves sitting in front of computers tweaking. I don't do gaming. That's one thing that doesn't interest me at all. Never been into playing games on a computer. I would get bored in about 5 seconds, and I have done before with people showing me things. It's not for me, that stuff, but sit me in front of a computer with music on it, and I will muck about with a drum loop for hours and hours until I get what I'm looking for. So, but yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed. Something a little bit different, a little insight into what I do, how I record things. Any questions, just ask, and share any tips you've got, or any other software tips that you might use, or what you think might be the best little action camera. Again, I'm still recording you on the GoPro at the minute, so it might look a little bit dark in here. Actually, it might be worth me turning the phone on and recording, and I might be able to do like a side by side. So look, the light is incredible. So I will record the same. I'll record me now on two different things, and then when I splice it together, I'll try and go between the two, and you can see what I mean about the GoPro and the iPhone. I mean, the iPhone is fantastic. It's the go-to thing, really. So here we go. Right, I'm now talking to you on the GoPro that side, the iPhone that side, and I don't know if you can see it, but the light is incredible on the iPhone. It looks like I'm in daylight, even though I'm in a little spare room with the blinds all shuttered to stop the sunlight coming through. So obviously when you're plastering and recording yourself at work, you want it to be quite bright because you want people to see what you're doing. Now the trouble is with a GoPro, even if I get my sight light out with a massive sort of, you know, beam on it that really lights the room up, the GoPro doesn't like it. It will start flickering. You start getting all this flickering across the screen. So it's hard to win with a GoPro. Maybe I should just take up windsurfing and use it for that. Might be better anyway. But alright, I'm going to leave you now, and hope you enjoyed a little insight into my little editing suite, my spare room.